What's up, nerds? I'm Wes.
And I'm Aaron.
We're Nevermore Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Floodgate's next big hit, Cosmic Colonies, on Kickstarter right now. As always with Kickstarter previews, this game is in prototype mode, so definitely there's going to be some things changing. I know especially the resources are going to be different shapes. But take everything with a grain of salt because rules could change, components could change. It's going to be a lot nicer, but it's going to be great.
Cosmic Colonies is a drafting, resource management, polyominoes placing game of space. You're in space, you're on this asteroid. Everybody has a slightly different looking asteroid, which, leads to, you're not always going to be aiming for the same goal and the way you're placing your polyomino tiles. We're all using actions or simultaneously selecting and placing down, and then we're going to flip them over and decide if we want to actually build with that card or if we want to collect resources, and then those resources, they get stored on your space station, and then you're going to be spending them to build more buildings.
Yeah, and the buildings are the polyominoes. So there's the pseudo drafting of picking the action, and then there's you can use it to collect resources, or the other action is to build, and the polyominoes all cost something. So you have to spend the resources to buy the polyomino and then place it on your board, and they all have to be touching another polyomino on your board. And then you're trying to fill these up, and you start off with a bunch of negative points because all the spots on your board, depending on whether it's like ice or mountain or sand, plain, whatever they're called, the different spots are worth a different amount of negative points if left uncovered. So you're slowly trying to cover up the board and build out your colony so that you're not losing all of those points. Well, we also have secret objectives, which are certain polyominoes are going to score points for us. Everyone gets this kind of polyomino scores 2 points, this kind scores 1 point. So we're all kind of going for a specific set, but it's also worth 10 or 15 points depending on which version of the rulebook you're looking at if you have all of each set of the 5 different ones.
Yeah, if you can collect all of them, that definitely gives you a big boost in points. But everybody else is also going for them, so you gotta try and limit the amount of sets that are given out to the other players.
But the negative points, it's not only are you just trying to fit these polyominoes together in the most strategic way, but you're also trying to cover up certain points in the board and other,
the ice you can completely leave open, because it's worth 0 points. So
yeah, it's not like you're losing points by covering it up. You're just not losing negative points. So it's not like you're getting hurt by covering up the ice, but if you can get your zigzag piece to go around a piece of ice and cover up a mountain, that's definitely ideal. So it's not super difficult to get them on the board, at least not until the very end when most of your board's covered. But it is still trying to figure out the most strategic way to cover up the most amount of negative points.
So this game is described as a draft, and to me, it didn't feel like a drafting game at first until you're saying oh, well, it's different, because you have cards in your hand and you pick the card you want to play, and you pick another card that you want to play for your second action, and then those cards get passed to the left or the right or however you want to do it. And when we were getting taught this game, that was the coolest thing ever. Is we're just okay, pick one that you want to do for an action. I'm okay, this one's cool. He's pick another one. I'm oh, this is cool. He's okay, pass. I'm whoa.
Blew our minds.
Yeah, I was because he hadn't, the rules hadn't been fully explained to us. So it was a good teaching moment. It's very similar to Onitama, where okay, whatever action I've taken is now going to my opponent, and they're going to use it. And so you want to use your best things, but you might want to hold on to them a little bit to use them when they're beneficial to you, and that they're not going to be super beneficial to your opponent in the next turn.
Yeah, there's definitely turns where I'm I really want to play this, but this is a really good card, so do I want to give this to him next round? Or maybe I want to play it now because I want to make sure that hopefully everyone's going to play it and it comes back to me, or I want to play it now but it might be more beneficial later. It definitely creates a really unique dilemma in your head of I want to play it but I don't want to give it to them.
That was definitely one of the coolest things going for like the card like management. You're like, which one do I play? When do I play it?
And we did play the 2-player variant, which I was really surprised at how well that worked, because there's this little board that basically is a placeholder. So we both play our cards, and then they both go to this board, and then the next round we get those cards. And so it works that you're still giving up 2 cards and gaining 2 cards every round, but it's not just us passing the same 2 cards back and forth and back and forth. There still is a good rotation, and we still did see like every card in the deck basically throughout the course of the game because of that.
Yeah, and you have to really try and count cards then, where you're like, okay, he played these 2 cards and put them face down, so I'm not getting them right now, but I'm going to get them next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to think about, okay, if I want to use one of the ones he just used, I'm going to have to, if I know that there's like the last turn of the last game we played, I knew that I was going to get the one card that lets you build 2 buildings. So I was like, okay, I've been holding on to this card that lets you get that over collect resources. So it's like, I'm going to over collect resources on this action, and then I'm going to get that card, and that'll be my next action, is to spend all those resources. So like, I was over the limit, but then I spent them. So like, you have to really, plan out strategically and try and count cards. And like, I'm not really good at it, but I felt really, I was like, yes, I did it. I was like, it worked out. You can do it the other way too. You can be like, well, I'm going to use this on the 7th round and then put it down, and then he won't get it because
it's going
to
go.
The 8th round will never pass those
That's
cards.
only in a 2-player game.
Yeah.
Because in like a 3 or more player game, it gets even more tricky because you have to like figure out who has what card, and you don't know that it's coming back to you because they, it could go all the way on the table to the person right before you, and then they can just hold on to it. And you're like, I need that card. Play the dang card.
The really high powered, so there's highly powerful actions, which are usually on like the lower number, like the priority number. So like priority score 1. Did I say that backwards? So it has priority score 1, it has like no action, and it's just you get to go first. But if it has a really high number, so like 15 or 16, it's a really good action, but you're gonna go last. And usually you collect more resources on those. Like the lower number ones, it's like, okay, you collect 2 or 3 resources, but you got to do it early in the turn, and you're not gonna get screwed out with like, oh, he took all the purple resources. Now I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take yellow ones, but I didn't need any more yellow ones right now.
I don't even know if we talked about that. The fact that all the cards have a priority number on them. We all select our cards simultaneously. We all flip them face up, and then you go in priority order. So it's not like a player 1, player 2, player 3. It's priority order of the cards. And because they're all face up, I can kind of see what you're doing. Like if Aaron plays the card that lets him overcollect resources, or there's one card in there that like you could collect a whole bunch of blues, and if the blues are used up, you could get another one or something.
You can get them from the reserve.
Yeah, but basically, I can kind of get an idea of what you're going for. And because of that, I can adjust. If I go earlier than you, I can adjust what I'm going to do just to screw you over if I want. So there's a lot of opportunity for Take That. I think this is a game that some Take That definitely fits into the game, but you also really need to focus on your own strategy. Like, it's definitely not a Take That game. There are moments of Take That, but for the most part, it's strategic because there's definitely some shortages going on. Like the way the resources refill, there's like the more coveted resources if we're going for a certain type of thing. Like there's definitely resources that are going to become like not as abundant. The building supply is limited every round.
Yeah, like in a 2 and 3 player game, there's only 5 of each building type.
Yeah.
So like we could be dealt cards where the top building that I want is the T shape, but at the bottom is the T shape for you. So we're both going for that shape. So we might buy them out really early.
But the buildings don't refill until the end of the round after we both played 2 actions. So yeah, if I buy the T shape early on, you don't get one, which means you want to play that high priority card next round to make sure that you're the one who gets to buy it.
Yeah.
Overall, this game just has so many good things going for it. It's a game that's strategic, but it's also a very like simple concept to grasp. We all play a card together. Priority order gets to go first. You choose collect resources or build, and then when you build, you just place your polyomino on the board. So like at each certain time, you only have so many options. Pick a card, you only have 5 cards in your hand. Once you've picked your card, priority order is determined, you have 2 options of what to do with it. Once there's only 5 different polyominoes out there, so that's only 5 things to choose from. Once you get it, there's some places to put it. But all of those things come together and blend and create just such a fun strategic game. It's got drafting, it's got resource management, it's got polyominoes, it's got
hand
management, it's got some competition. We're trying to cover things up, we're trying to fight over who gets to win things. Mm-hmm. It just, again, all those things come together to create just an incredible experience and just such a fun game. I think my favorite thing about it is the way the drafting works.
Yeah.
The fact that the cards pass around.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that's so simple, and it's not completely unique because Onitami does do that, where it passes around, and I've seen other things where that kind of thing can happen, but it's still just, it works so well with this. Mm-hmm. Definitely think this one's worth checking out.
I 100% agree. I like that the player boards are asymmetrical, so the way you place your tiles is always going to be different. Like, even this board that I have, it's reversible, so that you have
an advanced side.
Yeah, just a little harder to cover up the mountains. Like you have to spread out a little more. Like it's a very minor touch, but it definitely keeps it fresh each time you play, and trying to outsmart your opponent, and you use your cards wisely and collect resources and hold on to them until you really need them. Like it's just very streamlined. It's very awesome. It's space. You can't go wrong with a space game, right?
Yeah, and I do think as well, the polyominoes work really well in this game. Mm-hmm. It definitely doesn't feel like, oh, polyominoes are big right now, let's throw those in there. Mm-hmm. The way that you're trying to reach to cover up certain things and zig this to zag that to get those points. They're made for this game. I think it would be a detriment to not include them in this game, which is really cool to see. Yeah, such a cool mechanic.
For a civilization building, you definitely need these tiles.
Yeah.
And, it's good. It's good.
Obviously, we had a blast playing Cosmic Colonies. I definitely recommend you check out the Kickstarter campaign. You can click the card up here or the link down there, or if you're on Kickstarter, you can look
it's
up there probably. Maybe
purchase now. Get it. Back it. Yes. Either way, you should subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.